It's the Brian Lehrer Show on WNYC. Good morning, everyone, and we'll start our weekly Ask the Mayor segment in just a minute. My questions and yours for Mayor Bill de Blasio. Tiffany in Brooklyn. You're on WNYC with Mayor Bill de Blasio. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tiffany Torres, and I'm a leader of the Direct Action Team at Teens Take Charge. We had over 400 students and allies on the DOE steps yesterday, representing over 100 high schools. The message to you was, how much longer will it take? How much longer will it take before you make the choice to end the segregationist enrollment policies in our high schools, and how much more time do you need to study the issue?
Tiffany, with all due respect, and I do admire you as an activist, and you will be doing a lot of good in the world, and I hope you run for office one day as well. But I really think you're not hearing what we're saying to you, so I'll repeat it. There is a task force, an extraordinary task force, which I've met with, who are focusing on all the issues around diversity, include student members who I think are doing a great job. You may feel it's not important to address specialized high schools. I do feel it's important. I think what's happening in our specialized high schools is a massive injustice. We have precisely 2 weeks to try and address it in Albany. That's where my attention is, because we have a chance to change something right now that we don't get to decide, but Albany does, and that's where I'm putting my energy, and that is called making priorities.
Okay. At its core, integration is about the liberation of Black and brown people, and that's on period. You know what I mean? Like, that is something, like, that's what this is about. You know, like, this is about giving people who have not been given much in this country what they deserve, you know, and, like, that's what this is about. And I'd be damned if that's not what this movement is about, and I would quit. You know, like, I would quit.
We all are here gathered today to fight segregation. If you don't see that the system benefits rich white students, I don't know what you're seeing. Look at your school. Look at your school. You cannot be a Warren, Bernie Sanders liberal if you are okay with this racist system. You are not a liberal if you are okay with it. You are a racist. Brown and Black students in the South Bronx and East Brooklyn deserve a quality education.
This is the launch of our campaign today. About 10 o'clock this morning after the strike, I got a text message from the Director of Community Affairs of the DOE. She works very closely with the Chancellor and with the leadership team there. She said, "Hi!" exclamation point. "What does strike mean? Question mark. Walkout? Question mark." And so it was like a very loose, casual text. And that's sort of how our relationship has been. We've been friendly. We've met with them. We've really tried to go out of our way to sit down with them and to negotiate. But today, I think we sort of flipped the switch and we changed our tone a lot. And so my response to her was, "Hi, Sadie. Teens Take Charge will be supporting high schools across the city and leading peaceful demonstrations during the school day every Monday until the administration announces how it will address their demands to integrate high schools, period."
We're the biggest in the nation.
We must fight for integration.
We're the biggest in the nation.
We must fight for integration.
We're the biggest in the nation.
We must fight for integration.
We're the biggest in the nation.
Grew up in Bushwick my entire life. This neighborhood about 10, 20 years ago was like the no zone. Like no one wanted to move here. It was very dangerous. And my grandparents bought it back in the 70s. And so my mom grew up in this house and I grew up in this house. And so now it's my neighborhood is the go-to place and everyone's thinking it's trendy and hip because it's being gentrified.
What are some of the things you like to do in your neighborhood?
before or after the colonization?
You think back to history class in like 1954 when the Brown v. Board decision ruled segregation unconstitutional. That didn't really apply to places like New York City or Chicago or Boston or Milwaukee. And so they were able to sort of keep doing what they had been doing for decades, which is maintaining essentially a dual system of education.
I like to think of it as kind of like a big catfish, to be honest with you. Like, with the lights and the bustling city and like all these ideas of the American dream in New York City, it really is just a facade. To me, it's insane how there's this idea of the American dream when, especially coming from immigrant parents myself, like there's this dream that the city is a land of opportunity, and of course it is, right? There's tons of opportunities, but it's mainly for the people who fit the status quo. It's mainly for the people who fit this image of quote unquote what it means to be an American.
This is kind of an outline of Project X, which is kind of what we call internally our campaign and the public action side of our campaign. So Teens Take Charge will be coordinating weekly school strikes throughout the city in the next few months. And this is obviously, you guys know, this is what we've been working on. This is what you've been working so hard planning in your schools. And the strikes will end when our demands aren't met, so indefinitely. And it's leading up to what we're calling Project X Square, which will be a huge boycott in February.
Cool. So, to add on.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yes.
The boycott doesn't work?
Sorry?
If the boycott doesn't work?
Then we sue the DOE.
It's been good. Busy. Smells like bleach.
Señorita, una mujer que está haciendo un video. Sí, yo te lo voy. Amrit, do you want to meet my grandma? Yeah. Marcus and I talk about this all the time. Like, I think, like, the white gay is, like, very different from, like, the black and brown gay, because, like, I think just our communities are just less accepting, like, than that, because it's like, oh, like, you're already brown, like, don't add another, like, Lego of struggle, like, to your plate, you know what I mean? Like, it definitely has taken away, like, my youth in that type of way, and because I'm always stressing about something that, like, I honestly can't even control, like, and this is, like, full transparency, but, like, Marcus has really been, like, my first best friend ever, because I've always been in that kind of, like, mindset of, like, I'm an adult, like, I need to do this, like, in order to, like, become whatever it is that I want to be, and, like, we've kind of really been coaching each other, like, in a way, like, oh, no, it's, like, it's okay to, like, mess up, like, it's okay to, like, be, like, a student and just live, like.
Education is a right, not just for the rich and white. Education is a right, just for the rich and white. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white.
What do you like to do for fun?
Activism. I love doing activism because I lead all things protests, essentially, and civil disobediences. I'd say I put like 10 to 12 hours a week towards doing this. I plan on being a politician long down the line after a good amount of nonprofit work. I plan on really changing the system radically, and I just can't wait to be able to actually cast a ballot in Congress. So I am from a pretty big mixed family. Yeah, I'm an only child, biologically. So when I was about 2 weeks old, my biological mom like passed away from like childbirth, and when I was 2 years old, my biological dad passed away from gun violence. And so I moved in with my aunt and uncle who like took me in, and they were like so I mean, I was 2 years old, so 2 weeks old, so I don't really remember much, but like it was the best. I'm glad that I have them in my life, and I'm glad that God has blessed me with like a family to be there with me. And so my entire family is super duper supportive, and I love them all, and they're great. And so yeah. My school is majority Black and Latinx, and we are in the same district as Eleanor Roosevelt, which is majority white. They have a really great facility. They have really great resources, teachers. They have really good sports teams, when we only have, I think, 5 sports teams at my school. Our gym is ran down. We have closet spaces that are just taken up by junk. It makes me angry. It makes me hate the system, because how can I support a system that doesn't support me? If you don't want me to get a quality education, then you clearly don't want me to succeed.
This is a 168 bound C Street, straight on D Street.
Segregation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Segregation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Segregation has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho.
So we're basically just having an accountability meeting with the DOE, following up from our big May 17th meeting. Oh, we thank you for your leadership, like, we thank you, like, for everything that you do, like, and it's just like, okay, like, when are you actually gonna answer our questions, like, stop spending 10 minutes, like, commending us for our leadership as you do every meeting, but actually say what you have to say and commit to what you have to commit to, so we don't have to meet again, like, it's just frustrating, and then to like have to go through that. And then this is like a BS post whenever Marcus and I are calling and it's like we're talking about the DOE, I just like to casually put this out there.
Do you feel like adults are doing their part?
Well, I mean, if adults were doing their part, we wouldn't be fighting for that now. People with power and money who have the most influence, and when those people are greedy and just want their children to have the best of the best and are totally okay with other children not getting nearly the same as long as their child is benefiting, that's why we're in this problem. And we need adults such as the mayor and Chancellor Carranza and Josh Wallach to say we are not going to stand for these kind of systems anymore, because the more that we stand for these systems, the more we are disadvantaging these Black and Latinx students.
We refuse to be part of a system that teaches students of color that they are not enough. So we will continue to strike. Thank you.
You don't even want to give it to me?
One, two. 1, 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Mic check.
This question is for Deputy Chancellor Wallach. New York City has one of the most segregated school systems in the nation. It also has the highest degree of competitive admission screening of any school system in the nation. Dozens of high school programs deny students admission based on grades, state exam scores, specialty exam scores, attendance, lateness, essays, portfolios, interviews, and, in my case, zip code. After 6 years, the NYC DOE under Mayor de Blasio has not eliminated or even reduced the use of these discriminatory screens. Why not?
Am I on? Oh, there we go. Thanks very much for the question. I have a couple different responses. The first thing is to say that I think your advocacy and your work has had an impact already. And student voice is absolutely critical in this discussion. And I don't say this to say the problem is solved or even that we've come remotely close to doing enough, but we're working on it, and that's in large part thanks to your work and advocacy. We, as a matter of course, have not created new screen programs or schools since we've been in office, and you're right that we're still grappling with the legacy of the ones that we have, but we're not creating new ones.
We have not been given the promise of an integrated classroom between black and brown and white students, and this has become kind of a civic wrongdoing. And so when we also look at the research, it shows us that integrated classrooms, they're not just about giving the black and brown kids what the white kids have. It's about creating environments that foster learning for all students and decrease social anxiety. And you find that if there is a white student who attends schools with other students who are not white and students who are black and brown and come from all walks of life, they're not gonna walk out on the street and then call the police on a black person who's literally just standing there. You know, you reduce racial incidents and this idea of white flight and white fragility when you have a classroom that is diverse through the thick and thins of it all.
So what's in somebody's mind, their bias, takes a lot of ongoing work to help support not only the young people who come encounter with an adult who has bias, but helping that adult understand and overcome their bias, because we all have bias. So we, or at least we're trying to own it and say, what can we do to do better? Everybody right here, you could just Google Respect for All. You Google that, you get to the page of Respect for All. There's a complaint page. It's a digital complaint. Just click on that, you can file a complaint right there. It comes to me and my team. If you don't feel like Googling that right now, just email me at respectforall@schools.nyc.gov. And we got a bunch of cards that we've been giving out that has that there. So if because I've been at Beacon, I've been at Brooklyn Tech, there are deeply embedded problems that take a lot of work to overcome. It won't be done in a week.
Time is almost up, sorry.
All right.
I think what can be done is desegregating our school system, because that is the biggest problem that we have. And instead of filing a complaint, why don't we just eliminate all screens? I think that would be more effective.
But we have to go deeper. We have to get into the minds and souls of every educator who comes into contact with our young people. That's what we have to do. So yes, it can start with integration, but we have to go further than that.
So then why don't we start? Like, no, honestly, respectfully, like, you guys keep on saying, oh, we have to look on it, we have to communicate, we have to do this. Like, how much longer will we have to wait? Like, why can't, like, you can literally eliminate screens right now, like you just did with the limited unscreened protocol. And when we met with you all in May, the 65th anniversary of Brown v. Board, you guys passed policy to affect this school year right then and there. So why can't you do that again, but actually end segregation in our school system right now? It's literally within your control, Josh Wallach.
I think if the question, part of the question is, there's real urgency. We're in high school right now. We're in a segregated system right now. Why aren't you moving towards it? The answer is, we hear you, and we are taking bites at the apple. We have not done what you're saying, which is sweeping change, yet. We're working in districts.
I know this is frustrating, and I understand the frustration at the response, but the honest answer is that we believe that the changes we make will be deeper, more significant, and more sustained if we engage in the kind of community conversation that we're having here tonight with you and with others across the city. Our goal is the same, but we believe that we will make more change and make it stick if we hear from voices all over the city and try to explain and make the case that integrated schools are stronger schools. That's what we're doing right now, and that's what we're committed to doing with you.
We can move on to the next question.
That makes no sense. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Now repeat after me. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white. Education is a right, not just for the rich and white.
So, you left TTC. Can you
I
tell me a
did.
little bit about why?
Yeah, I think so. We did a campaign where we did strikes for 8 weeks straight, and it was very destabilizing. I never took a break. I never, stopped. It was like every single day, right after school. I'm either editing speeches. I'm going to their schools to get their kids on board. I'm like in contact with like 10 different people at the same time, and it was very overwhelming and very destabilizing to do that for such a long time. It was basically like planning a rally every single week, and the goal was to get higher numbers every single week. And so I kind of like lost myself in that time, and I put everything on the back burner, my mental health, myself, my college applications. And so I had to make the choice for myself to say, like, I need to remove myself from this place so I can find myself again. And I have so much respect for TTC, and I believe that students should have the final say. And it's because I believe in radicalism sometimes when it's needed, when your life is on the line because when you're getting stopped for 275 on the MTA, or criminalized just for being black driving a car. Like, you don't have a choice to be peaceful, and just ask for equal rights. You're gonna have to demand it. And so that's exactly what I aspire to do.
I'm so grateful, like, the fact that I'm even, like, at this stage where I can say, like, yes, I'm going to college, like, essentially, like, for free, and, like, being able to do that. I think, like, as a first-generation student, like, I want a fairy tale college experience, and I want to, like, just be able to, like, reinvent myself in, like, this really low-stakes kind of, like, way, but, like, I also think about leaving everyone here and, like, what it means for, like, integration in this city.
Aren't you tired? Tired that you are up at 8 a.m. in the morning fighting for a system that should already exist? Tired of pointless conversations about change that leads nowhere? What makes one school better than another? Who decided that there will be a difference? Are we not worthy of being educated? School segregation is not just a black and brown issue. It's not just a New York issue. It's a human rights issue. We're in a system that fails to recognize our greatness. Where's our American dream? You promised us liberty and justice for all, but how can we be free when we are trapped within our own skin? Just think about all of the lost promises and beaten down hopes of students who no longer have the energy to keep fighting. They're tired. I am tired. We are tired. Understand this. New York City is one of the most diverse cities on earth. Yet we have one of the most segregated school systems in the nation. In response to talking about school segregation, I hear things like, I totally understand, but the issue is too hard to deal with, but, oh, we'll get to it soon, but, well, it is 65 years later, and I'm tired of waiting. This strike is to tell you that it should be dealt with right now. This strike is to tell you that each and every one of our experiences in this inequitable system matters right now.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
We are not the leaders of tomorrow.
We are not the leaders of tomorrow.
We are the leaders of today.
We are the leaders of today.
And we are demanding change.
And we are demanding change.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
But today.
But today.
Now.
Now.
We are holding you accountable.
We are holding you accountable.
Republican.
Republican.
Democrat.
Democrat.
Anybody.
Anybody.
Who has power.
Who has power.
We are here.
We are here.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
We are here.
We are here.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.